Good morning. So let's take a seat as comfortable as you can get. And then take a few deeper breaths and some shrugging in the shoulders. You get to stretch into the sides of the ribs. Those deeper breaths that expand the whole rib cage just to begin to open up that space. So again, I've spoken about this a lot, the inclination of the sympathetic nervous system, that side of the nervous system that's really devoted to protecting us. And it tends to be overactive, so we tend to then overly tighten again and again unconsciously. That pattern tends to be dominant. So those deeper breaths just allow us to begin this process of slowly dilating our system and moving toward the parasympathetic nervous system, which is aligned to that greater quality of freedom that each of us is um, able to experience through these type of practices. So we're going to do some breath work as we've done throughout all of our meditations. And we're also going to do a visualization meditation this morning. And this is one of my favorites, and it's a foundational practice. And what this particular practice does is it kind of clears our system. So, particularly if you find yourself stuck, in a particular emotion or particular thought patterns that aren't really supporting you, that are difficult to be in, this is a great way of beginning to just flush the system out, to bring us back to neutral, to kind of decord us in a sense. Um, there's a couple of precautions with this. If you're pregnant or trying to get pregnant, don't do this, and it can sometimes get in the way of that, and that's another discussion we can have at some point. Um, Also, just to say that in terms of meditations, and I said this at the very beginning, different meditations are going to resonate with different people. A lot of it is just how our minds, brains work. So visualization meditations just don't work for some people. They just get in the way. And if you find that's the case, and you find you just can't stay with it, just come back to your breath. No big deal. Okay. And again, a lot of this and the trying out of different methods is to just see what resonates with me, what works for me, what's going to support you in terms of a practice moving forward. So this particular meditation, we're going to move through uh, 8 points in the body, what we would call chakras um, in yogic circles. The first one is about a foot above the crown of your head. So that's the first space. Then we go to the crown of the head. Then we go to the space between the eyebrows, the third eye. Then we go to the throat. Then we go to the heart center. We go to the solar plexus, which is the base of the rib cage. We go to the second chakra, which is about a finger length below your navel. And then we go down to the pelvic floor, base chakra. Okay, so they're the 8 points. And what we're going to do is we're going to visualize a light, white light, you know, whatever comes to you in terms of that white light, and it's a spiraling movement through the light. So we're visualizing or picturing above our heads this white light. That's how we're going to start it. Okay. And what we do is we're going to then move the white light through our system. So we're pulling it into that space, the first space, a foot in front, above the crown of the head. And we're working with the breath. So as we inhale, we bring it in. As we exhale, we're going to imagine it spiraling forward in front of us. As we inhale, we're going to bring it back in. As we exhale, we're going to send it behind us. As we inhale, we're going to bring it in. As we exhale, we're going to send it to the right. As we inhale, we're going to spiral it back in. As we exhale, we're going to send it over to the left. As we inhale, we're going to bring it back in and all the way down to the next point, which is the crown of the head. And then we do the same procedure. I'll talk you through it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to sit and we're going to close our eyes and we're just going to drop into the breath. We're just going to drop into this moment. Okay. So close the eyes, let the belly relax, let your face relax, your jaw, let your tongue rest in your mouth. And just tune into this moment. What's going on? What can you notice? Tune into the sounds around you. Maybe you can hear the birds. Just settling yourself. Notice the cushion beneath you. Settle the weight of your body onto what you're sitting on. Just the idea of just get heavy in the hips. Let the hips drop. And the same time as you let the hips drop down, could you take a few comfortably deeper breaths to let the upper body to become a little bit more buoyant? Just a gentle lifting of the sternum, the heart. Breathe into the armpits. Again, let the belly soften. And then let the breath come to its natural rhythm and just notice it. Notice your breath. Just be close to it. Wherever that draws you in your body, where's the one place that you're instinctively drawn to as you're asked to focus on the breath? Can you be in that space? Just staying with the body, noticing if there's any tension in the body that you could release. So as we begin to bring this attention inward, we'll get to notice these little pockets of holding that we carry that exist through our disconnect to them. So often the unconscious patterning is so strong, and it's there simply to protect us. It's one way of looking at it. It's not that it's bad or it's wrong. It's a protective mechanism. So in one sense, almost this opportunity as we meet what is uncomfortable, to be grateful for it. Doesn't mean we need to keep it or we're not going to change. But the idea that the essence beneath what is uncomfortable so often is simply a way of attempting to keep us safe. And if we could hold that idea, then we're moving in the direction of a deeper quality of acceptance of the whole experience, not just the easy, comfortable bits, but also the uncomfortable bits, the bits that we might like to be another way. We're moving in the direction of this idea of radical acceptance, meeting ourselves more fully, more honestly, more openly. Just staying with our breath for a few more moments. Okay, so we'll try this meditation, this visualization out. And again, if you find it frustrating, if it's not really making sense, just come back to your breath. No big deal. So you bring the attention to this point a foot above the crown of your head. See, can you, in your mind's eye, locate that space, have a sense of that space? And just above it, this spiral of white light. So don't get too caught up in the specifics, just the general feel. Maybe you're visualizing or you're feeling or you're sensing. And as you inhale, you pull that light into that space above the crown. And as you exhale, you let it spin forward in front of you. So it's spiraling forward. And as you inhale, you bring it back into that space. And as you exhale, you let it move behind you, moving straight out horizontally behind you, spiraling out. Inhale, you breathe it in. Exhale to the right. Inhale, breathe it in. exhale to the left. Inhale, you breathe it in and all the way down to the crown of the head. So you're visualizing it in the crown of the head. And as you exhale, you send it forward again. Inhale, you pull it back in with the breath, back into that space of the crown. Exhale, send it backwards behind you, spiraling out. And as you inhale, you breathe it back in and exhale to the right, spiraling out to the right. Inhale, breathe it in. Exhale, spiraling it to the left. Inhale, breathe it in, all the way down to the space between the eyebrows, right in the center of the head. And as you exhale, spiral it forward, that brilliant white light spiraling forward in front of you, maybe a few inches or a foot. And then breathe it back in, back into that space, exhaling it out the back of the skull, back of the head. Inhale, breathe it back in, to the right. Inhale, breathe it in, to the left as you exhale, spiraling out. Try to keep the image if you have it. Inhale as you breathe it back in, all the way down into the center of the throat, almost imagining it illuminating in white light as it gets there. And as you exhale, you breathe it forward horizontally. Inhale, breathe it in. Exhale out the back of the neck. Inhale, breathe it in. Exhaling it to the right, spiraling out the right side of the neck. Inhale, breathe it in. Exhaling it out the left side. Inhale, breathe it in. All the way down now, right into the center of the chest, that heart center space, which again illuminates as the light gets there, the spiral. And as you exhale, send it forward. And then inhale, bring it in. Breathe it in. Exhale, spiraling it out the back. Inhale, breathe it in. Exhaling it out the right side. Inhale, breathe it in. Exhaling it out the left side. Inhale, breathe it in all the way down to the solar plexus, the base of the ribs, the diaphragm. And as you exhale, send it forward in front of you. Visualize this wide spiraling light. Inhale, breathe it back in. Exhaling it out the back, diaphragm. Inhale, breathe it in. Exhaling it out the right side, spiraling out. Inhale, spiral it back in, spinning as you exhale it out the other side. Inhale, breathe it in and all the way down to that space below the navel. We call the second chakra, emotional center. As you exhale, spiral it forward. As you inhale, breathe it in. As you exhale, spiral it out the back. As you inhale, breathe it in. As you exhale, out the right side. Inhale, breathe it in. Exhaling it out the left side. Inhale, breathe it in right down to the pelvic floor. Imagine that space illuminated. And with your next exhalation, send that light forward, that spiral forward along the earth or along your seat. Inhale, breathe it in. Exhaling it out the back. Inhale, breathe it in. Exhaling it out the right side. Inhale, breathe it in. Exhaling it out the left side. Inhale, breathe it in, back into that pelvic floor, and then let the image dissolve. And just pause here aware of the breath, and just notice the sensation through the body. Just staying with your breath, staying close to your breath. Okay, we bring the hands together in front of the heart. So in terms of what we find difficult or challenging, the suffering that happens internally within us, so much of it is habitual. We just get into habits. And again, so much of it is based in this idea of protecting us, and yet can so often do the opposite. So that practice that we've just done, again, is a great way of just clearing the system out, just clearing out those habits, clearing out that patterning, like rebooting a computer, the similar idea. So doing that and any of these practices habitually, you think about a habit and what we usually say around habits, it takes 21 days to change a habit. Similar idea to what's happening in terms of our energetic habits, our mental habits, emotional habits. So think about that in terms of if that practice resonated with you. For a moment, could we go to this idea of gratitude, the way in which we find the feeling of gratitude inside us? Maybe we use a moment in time that we remember or a person that we know. Maybe it's somebody close to us, or maybe it's a teacher or someone we admire. And as you find that feeling of gratitude in that heart space, can you imagine you're breathing into it? And each time you breathe into it, that feeling literally expands. And as it expands, it begins to envelop you, expanding into every corner, every part of you. And then to ourselves and to each other, we just gently bow our heads. And then releasing the hands, lifting the chin, opening the eyes. So thanks again for joining me. Back tomorrow. And if you think about it and you get a chance, maybe you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I hope you have a good day. Thanks a million. Bye.